Hi everyone, it's Terry here from nutsaboutsstamping.com. In today's video, I'm going to show you a beautiful and multi-layered Christmas card idea using a combination of products. I'm going to use the Christmas Gleaming stamp set and one of the matching ornament punches. I'm going to use the best Plaid Builder dies, and I'm going to use the best year stamp set. Let me move these out of the way. My card base is going to be Whisper White. I've cut it 8.5 by 5.5 and scored it on the 4 1/4 mark. That's going to be the base. I'm going to set this aside right now because I have to do some die cutting and a little bit of organizing, and then we'll put everything together. For the phrase for the front, I'm going to use the phrase that says, "Warm wishes for a happy Christmas." And because of the color combination I'm using for my Christmas card, I'm going to color that phrase with two of my Stampin' Write markers. I'm going to use Real Red, and I'm going to use Old Olive. Now, I don't know if you own the Stampin' Write markers, but they are a great way to use multiple colors on your stamps so that you don't always have to use one color only. I think the only thing that you have to know is not to run your colors together, so you have to be very careful when you're inking it up. And then because I started with the red and then moved to the green, the red has started to dry a little bit, so I'm going to huff on it with my breath. That'll moisten it, and then I can stamp it down. And that's crooked. Let's do it again. Sometimes that happens, doesn't it? Even for somebody that's been stamping for years and years and years, it happens. The good thing about our cardstock is that it's two-sided. So if you make a mistake on one side, you just turn it over and you're ready to go on the other side. Let's try it again. And there we go. All right, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to make the ornament for the front of my card. I'm going to use Real Red, and I have got this ornament, so I'm going to ink it up. I hope you know that when you're inking your stamps, it's always a good idea to turn it over and make sure that you have full coverage across the surface of the stamp. Don't ever guess. You can always turn it over and look and then reapply ink if need be. And now I'm going to bring in the punch and I'm going to punch it out. I have it nice and centered, and I just punch it out and it's ready for the front of my card. Now it's time to do a little die cutting. So I'm going to bring in my Big Shot, my die cutting and embossing machine. And I'm going to run through two passes. I have, for the first go round, I have this piece of designer series paper, and I'm going to die cut it using one of the best Plaid Builders, the one with the squares in it. So that's going to be my first pass through. I'm going to go back and forth because there's lots of little parts to this die, and I want all the paper to fall out really easily. Sorry about the wiggling camera, everybody. There we go. So that's my first die cut using the best builder, and then I'm going to use the second part to build. Just clean off my platform. And for this one, I'm going to use a solid piece of Real Red, and this is the second die in the pack. And you'll see the difference between the two in just a second. Okay. Oh, it slipped. I knew it was going to do that. Hang on. There we go, and we can run this one through. I'll go forward and back just one time. not as many bits and pieces to this die. So this one comes out like this, and I'll clean out the other one and I'll be back in a minute to show you how to put the card together. I'm back and I have these two pieces that I'm going to combine together to put on the front of my card. So I'm going to set this frame aside for a bit. I'm going to bring in my card base and I'm going to turn over the larger frame, and I'm going to add some multi-purpose liquid glue to the back side of this frame so that it'll adhere down tightly to my card front. Okay, let's do that first. Okay, like so. And because it's liquid glue, you just have to hold it down for a second. I have a little bit here. There we go. And now I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, because if I have any glue that runs over, I don't want to ruin my grid paper and make it all sticky. And the silicone mat, glue can run over and you can just rub it off after. So it's great. And then I'll put, you just want a little bit just to hold it down in place, but not to run over. Although it does dry clear most of the time. Okay, I think that's good enough. Just want enough to hold it in place. Okay, I'll bring on my card again. I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to lay the frame on top of the other frame like that. Then remember my phrase, my double-sided phrase. All right, so I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back of that. And I'm going to just lay this right across the front of my card. And I'm going to use the frame as my guide so it's nice and straight. And then my ornament comes next. And I think what I'll do is use some Stampin' Dimensionals and pop up the ornament just to make it stand out a little bit, because the pattern paper is quite busy, isn't it? So you can use your favorite pattern paper. If you have the Plaid Builder dies, you can have some fun creating really cool backgrounds. Okay, I'm going to put my ornament right like so. And then one final touch is I have some of this old olive ribbon that's got the gold edge to it. I think that's lovely for Christmas. So I have already gone ahead and made a bow and then cut it off the bolt. And to adhere it to the front of my card, I'm going to use a mini glue dot. I'm just going to press the knot down on the dot, lift it up together, and then add it to my ornament like so. I think the ends are a little long. Let me just trim a little bit. And there we go. Here is one really fun idea for a multi-layered and very colorful Christmas card. Now, let me show you a second idea. I used the brightly gleaming paper, and I used the Night of Navy and the Whisper White. I created exactly the same layout, but this time I used a phrase from the Poinsettia Petals stamp set, and then I used some of the ribbon that you can color with your sponges, and I created a Night of Navy ribbon, and this one has a nice shine to it, and this one is a little bit more matte except for the ribbon. So that gives you a couple of ideas for this particular card layout. If you would like a listing of the supplies that I used and the measurements for all of the layers, head on over to my blog, www.nutsaboutstamping.com. And while you're on my blog, consider joining my free newsletter service. I send 2 newsletters a week with a project in each one that you won't see anywhere else. And if you would like to order the products I use to make this card, I'll make sure that I provide the link underneath this video so that you can link over to my online store. I'm Terry. I am Nuts About Stamping. I hope you'll have fun creating a multi-layered Christmas card today too. Bye for now.